Wide awake after the wedding yesterday, right? Or the Preakness, one of the two. Aha. It's time to stand and sing.
Yeah, the royal wedding and the royal race, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Here we go.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of spirit right now. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of spirit right now. I'm choosing heaven today.
I'm choosing
Joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road in spirit right now.
I'm choosing
Joy
joy.
today.
I'm doing peace today.
Today.
Let your peace. I'm doing peace today.
Today. I am walking the road in spirit right now. I'm choosing peace today.
Let's do heaven. I'm doing
heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road in spirit right now.
I'm choosing. Let's do it again.
Today.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road
in spirit right now.
I am walking the road.
In spirit right
I am walking the road.
in spirit right now.
Yes, I'm choosing heaven. I'm choosing heaven. I'm choosing heaven.
Today.
We
Yay!
got there.
Take that energy and look at your neighbor and greet them with love.
I'm choosing heaven. You choosing heaven? Hey, y'all. Isn't this a fun group? We just love to hug. My name is Debbie Hoffman, and I'm a proud member of your board of directors. Wanted to welcome you all here to Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. You know, we're all here to do something, right? This is the place, and this is the teaching that will tell you and show you your direction in life. It'll show you what you're supposed to be doing. It did it for me, and I know it did it for a lot of you, and I know if you're new here, it's gonna do it for you too. So I wanna welcome also our Dreamer Streamers. Hello, did you know we stream online? Woohoo! So if you have friends or family around the world, tell them to tune in. They can get the same message, the same energy, right through that camera, right over there. So, if you're here for the first time and you would like some gifts that will start you on your journey to learning the tools that we know now to help live our better life, raise your hand and we have a gift for you. Do we have any new people? Oh, there we go. Got a winner in the back. Oh, right here. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And we're also available outside. Oh, we got some more over here. Yay! Woohoo! There's a great CD in there about probably one of Dr. Moore's lessons, which are always so powerful. We're so excited. Arrowheads this week. We can't wait. And we're sold out. Yay! We're sold out. And so that means all our happy hours are going to be sold out, too. And, yeah. And, but I think we have some room on the bus. So if anybody wants to join us on the bus, we have a blast coming back. Don't have to drive. And join us. You just need to go to the front desk. So before we go any further, I got to tell you, there is somebody here that has figured out what she is supposed to be doing in life and how she could affect, and she is affecting thousands and thousands of people. Listen to these words. You will just be wowed. Miss Jody Siegel. No pressure.
We're going to do a little reggae this morning. There's a new moon rising, misty rain, an angel flying in clouds of refrain. Here and gone. Change, the birds have flown. These days are just a stepping stone. Why do we hang on to heartache and regret when time will heal what we can't forget? 'Cause it's understood, out of the bad comes something good. These days are just a stepping stone. Cross the water, over the mountain to the valley below. Stepping stone, 'cause we're all going to rest down easy as the river flows. Let that river flow. Don't push the river, no, no. You got to let it flow. Oh, and then take good care, it's crystal clear. Gotta love each other while we're here. Then come the dawn, out of the shadow, life goes on. Yeah, these days are just a stepping stone. Take it. Give it up for Andy, everybody. Yeah, stepping stone, cross the muddy water, over the mountain to the valley below. Stepping stone, 'cause we're all going to rest down easy as the river flows. Let the river flow. Oh, don't push that river, no. Got to let it flow. You know what to do. Oh, take good care, it's crystal clear. Got to love each other while we're here. Then come the dawn, out of the darkness, life goes on. Yeah, these days are just a stepping stone. Whoa, it's a stepping stone. Walk on over, cross all the stepping stones.
Jody Siegel. Thank you, Jody. Always nice to start the morning with a little reggae. Yeah, man.
The awesome Miss Jody Siegel.
Oh, yeah.
And let's thank our amazing band as we're sitting here, Mr. Andy, Mr. Jerry, Mr. Albert, our sound people, our video people. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Reverend Mary.
We're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after staying up all night for the wedding. second. Why is it that Jesus could say to a paralyzed man, "Take up your bed and walk"? It was because Jesus, when he said this, he knew that the man would get up and walk. He not only believed there was something to respond to him, but he had an equivalent of its response. The law is infinite and perfect, but in order to make a demonstration, we must have a mental equivalent of the thing that we desire. Demonstration, like anything else, is objective. It is born in the mental concept. The mind is the fashioning factor, and according to its range, vision, positiveness, it will be a circumstance or experience that we have. So I was thinking about the wedding yesterday as I was with my friend. We had our scones and our creme fraiche, and we wore our tiaras. We drank Downton Abbey tea. We watched it last night. Of course, I was up all night, kept waking up and seeing it. But I thought it was very interesting. There were a lot of interesting things about it. But one of the most interesting things was they said that after the wedding, the one aspect that was the most tweeted, it wasn't the dress, it wasn't the pomp and circumstance, it wasn't who was there and who was sitting where and who walked where and wore what shoes or whatever. It was the sermon. And the sermon was tweeted because it was about love. So then fast forward, they went to the high school where Meghan Markle had gone, and it was Immaculate Sacred Heart, and it's in Pasadena area. And so they had a whole group of girls that were there watching the wedding overnight. They all had their tiaras on, they were all sitting there sleeping, and I know the gal I work with, her daughters were going to parties, everybody's going to these parties, and the girls were like, "Oh, it was so sweet the way he looked at her. It was so wonderful that they seemed so much in love." That's called an anchor, isn't it? It's called an anchor. It's something that kind of solidifies your thought. I remember hearing the newscasters say, ladies, if you're ever looking for a man, you want him to look at you the way Harry looked at Meghan. And men, if you ever want the right gal, you know you're with the right gal, it's the way Meghan looked at Harry. Now, there's not a whole lot that went on in that look, or was there? Because people got an emotional charge the moment they looked at that and saw, wow, this is the real deal. This really feels special. So the idea is, this having a thought in your mind of what you want to create. We say that thoughts create things, right? But it's more than just thought, because we have all kinds of random thoughts, but it's thought that's emotionally charged with something. Now, there was another big deal yesterday, and that was the Preakness. Some of you happen to know I love these horses. So there was an opportunity for this horse to win his second race because he won the Derby, and it was pouring rain and all the odds and blah, 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 blah. And it winds up, spoiler alert, he won, okay? My horse Good Magic didn't, but whatever. Justify won. And the deal is everybody's like, yeah, well, he was the favorite, da-da-da-da-da. Well, do you think that horse sat in the stable and thought, and all of his owners sat in the stable and thought, I'm going to win this race, so it's no big deal. I'm just gonna file my hooves right now because I've got nothing else to do. I know it's a done deal. No, he had to work for it, didn't he? He had to put his effort and energy into it, and he had to train, right? So back to the idea of our ideas, our mental equivalent, creating a picture in our mind. It's really a marriage, okay, get the tie in there. It's a marriage of the intellect, but it's also a marriage of the emotion. Because if you're just thinking the thought, it'll be like, la, 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 they'll drift right out of space. But if you get connected to it, if you get on fire with it, if you feel like, wow, this is something I really want to create in my life, and you have a vision. Think of our lovely Yvette when she does the vision board classes. Remember, we make vision boards and we put pictures on the board of what we want to see. It anchors us into our thought. And think of last week, Dr. Moyer asked us to write on cards things that we wanted to absolutely experience, that we wanted to embed in our thought consciousness, what we wanted to create. So all of these things create a mental equivalent. And what's the purpose of that? To create a greater experience in your life. That's what we want to do. We want to enjoy our life. We want to enrich our life. We want to enrich the life of everybody we're with as well. So think about it for a second. Our new homework assignment should be, go this week and think about what is it I really want to create in my experience, and then look around, is it happening? And maybe why not? Are you hanging out with people that are Debbie Downers? I have a friend named Debbie. She goes, please don't say Debbie Downer anymore. I love these girls. But so are we hanging out with people that bring us down? Are we in a job that isn't fulfilling us or whatever? Think about all the experiences that you're having. Are they affirming who you want to be, or are they detracting from it? And then you get to make your edit decisions, don't you? You get to cut out some of that stuff that isn't working, and don't come from that place of lack, but come from that place of, who do I want to be? What do I want to experience? And hey, guess what? We're here to have a blessed blast. That's what we're here to do. That's our biggest assignment. So please affirm with me. There is one power. There is one power. That power is God. That power is God. That power is my power. That power is my power. Now and always. Now and always. I am creating. In my mind and heart. In my mind and heart. All of the experiences. That I desire. So look out. Because here I come. So it is.
You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light of peace. I am the light of peace. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of peace. You are the light of joy. I am the light of joy. Good. You are the light, and I am the light, and we are the light of joy. You are the light of hope. I am the light of hope. You are the light, and I am the light. We are the light of hope. Yes, you are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light, and I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light, and I am the light. We are the light of love. And let us welcome up our awesome gal for our announcement.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Awesome. Okay. So I'm Anna, and I'm going to be doing your morning announcements today. Visioning with Dr. Moira is on Mondays at 6 p.m. Men's Spirit Group meets Monday, May 21st at 7 p.m. in the Teen Room. Drumming Circle is Sunday, May 27th at 12:30 p.m. in the Montessori Room. Blessings of the Animals is Saturday, June 2nd at 2 p.m. Dogs, cats, and other pets, small and large, furry and non-furry, are all welcome, as well as their human friends. All animals must be on a leash or in a carrier. We will also be collecting gently used towels, blankets, dog and cat toys, and treats for the local animal shelter. There is a sign-up sheet at the front desk. New member meeting is Sunday, June 3rd after second service in the sanctuary. Chili cook-off is Sunday, June 10th after second service. We have sign-up sheets at the front desk to bring chili or to bring dessert. Put your creative juices to work and make your favorite chili to share with everyone. Cost is $6 for adults and $3 for children 12 and under. The Arrowhead Retreat on Memorial Weekend is full. We are taking names for a waiting list because sometimes plans change and places at Arrowhead open up. The bus still has room and is an easy way to make the trip. The cost is a bargain at only $50 for the round trip. Take the bus, leave the driving to us. Okay, just kidding. Okay, graded homework from the recent Science of Mind classes is on the side counter if you would like to pick it up. We always have practitioners on duty. Look for them under the practitioner sign in the foyer. We also offer prayer circle after both services. If you would like to be a part of it, please come to the grand piano after service. Remain seated for the meditation song.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Be careful what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer.
And so, beloved presence, here I am in this amazing opportunity, this thing called a moment of mindfulness, a moment of presence, a moment of connection. And so I'm allowing myself now to be in my own company, be with my great self. And when I am in this company and present to it, all I have to do is to be still, to be quiet, to listen. Nothing to do, simply to be the quietness, be the stillness, and be the listening. And when I am, my goodness me, the beauteous and graciousness of what it is I hear, what it is I perceive, how I truly and deeply know that I know who I am. And so I'm grateful for this moment now, this moment of opportunity, this moment of choice, where I can stop all that ruminating and movement of mind, and a mind that runs here and there, and a fidgetiness in body that prevents me from being at home with myself, my great self, and to be able to experience that inner kingdom wherein all my answers lie, wherein all my creativity is, the answer to all that I might be pondering, right where I am, exactly as I am, when I'm on the inside of my life, when I'm in touch with the divine aspect of my being, as well as understanding and acknowledging my humanity too, and experiencing the beautiful blend of both, allowing the humanity of me to feel and enjoy the divinity of me, and to know the union of that, the thrill of it, the bliss of it, the richness of it, that fires me when I come back into the realm of the physical and the material world, to be all that I can be, am able to be, created to be. It is a sweetness to be desired, constantly and continuously to be experienced. And that's what this moment of conscious choice, thoughtfulness and mindfulness, steeped in the awareness of the wholeness and the fullness of my being and all being. that's what allows me to be effective and make the difference in the outer world of physicality. As I move through my days within Cronus time, as I move my way through the marketplace, as I participate in global life and living on this good plane. And I desire more and more and more of these at one moments of unity and harmony and oneness. And when I'm in that state, I don't have to do prayers. I don't have to do requests. I don't have to do anything except be the graciousness and the presence and the power of life and light and love that is the balm in Gilead, that is the healing, soothing energy of spirit that mends and fixes and heals wherever seems to need it. This is what is available to me in any given moment of conscious awareness. And I'm saying yes to it, and more of them with each breath. So in gratitude for this awareness and this moment of conscious consciousness, I know the breath has sent forth what I'm knowing, what I'm feeling, what I'm allowing. And it doesn't return unto me void, but it reaches that whereunto I send it into all of life and living and makes the difference. Because of the beautiful creative process, the law of life itself moving upon what I'm knowing and feeling and thinking and am convicted of. It is a beauteous thing indeed. And I say yes to it, and I allow it to be. And I know it is so as I say. And so it is.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer.
And so, did you know, this one thing for us to know this day and this week and forevermore, amen. Did you know that you could be the most exciting idea in your mind, in your life? Did you know it? Do you know it? You do you? You know that you could be the most exciting idea in your mind and in your whole life? Well, then let's go home. And just be it. That is the message of today. It's the message for you and for me to ponder this week, wrapped up in the whole concept of the mental equivalent. The mental equivalent. It's not a concept that you have not heard before. It's not something that you haven't thought about before. But what we're asked to do today is really embody it a little bit more deeply and a little bit more fully, and in that way, really understand it in a very deliberate and palpable way. The mental equivalent. There is nothing great and good and grand that has come into being without a mental equivalent along the line of it all, whether it's science or whether it's art or whether it's philosophy, psychology, whatever it is. It has not come into being without a mental equivalent. I love to look at the writings and the sketches and the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. My goodness, there's so many mental equivalents in there. And you and I would do far better in our lives, I'm sure, no matter how well we're doing, if we really embodied that principle and worked with it, the mental equivalent. Okay. So here's the way it is in order for you and for me to be the most wondrous, exciting, phenomenal idea in our own mind, in our own life. We have to know that thought is simply thought. And thought comes and thought goes, and it moves in and it moves out, it settles down, it does what it does. It's potential power, but it's not power in and of itself until one thing happens. Until it is hit by a conviction. Conviction is the power. Now, when you combine a thought with conviction, then that's power. Because that means that you have allowed that idea that you've been pondering to drop down into your inner, deeper mind, your subconscious mind. And when it does, I tell you, it's like da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-bum-bum. All of that wonderful energy called life works upon it so that it can happen in your life as an experience. So the process is thought. Thought and conviction, now we're cooking. Thought and conviction will create a mental equivalent, a mental equivalent. When you get the mental equivalent, the sketch, the outline, the blueprint, the picture of what it is you've been pondering, what happens next is a nucleus is formed. There's an explosion of power and a nucleus is formed. And that nucleus is a center of powerful energy, a center of attraction that once occurs starts to create all the things necessary to happen in order for what you have imprinted on your mind to come out into reality. That's how you and I create whatever it is we create in our lives and living. It's a process. It's a process. The beautiful, amazing, awesome power of mind in action. And it doesn't matter what it is that you and I have been pondering, good, bad, or indifferent. When we go into that full process and bring it to completion, we will experience that as night follows day in some way or another. Now that is it's priceless to know this. No amount of money could equal the value of knowing this. Once upon a time when I was on cable TV, a long time ago, before I was a minister, I had a metaphysical program called On Center with Moira Fox. And I was just doing the basic fundamental steps really in prayer, but not in prayer as such. I was just saying this is the process of creation, and I went through the steps and so on. And a young engineer called me and he said, what I gained from that talk today, he said, is priceless. He said, I would easily pay $1,000 to get that CD. If I had it. I said, well, if you follow the steps, you will have it. Understand, you see, knowledge is potential power, but applied knowledge is the power. Knowledge is only knowledge until it's applied, then the power is experienced of that knowledge. And that's what you and I are called to this week and today, building mental equivalents, creating prototypes and nuclei, or whatever the plural is for it, nucleuses that are going to bring about that which is good and good for you and for everything and everyone as well. That is why I'm really, truly in earnest when I say we could be the most exciting idea in our own mind, in our own lives, and therefore consequently create great good things for ourselves and everybody else besides. Everybody else. You never, ever, ever, understand this once and for all. Never, 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 never desired any good thing for you without desiring it for every single person on this plane and every living thing. Because you are everything and everyone and everything and everyone is you. So it's not just about me, 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 me. It's about I am. It's about the essential essence of being, of life, which is a universal experience. A universal experience. I do not exist on my own. I'm never alone. I never have been, and I never will be. I never can be. Even though the appearance is at times that we are. It's an illusion. And one day we will break through all of our illusions, and there will be no more illusions, and we will know. We will stand tall like a young man in the Maasai tribe when he's come of age. And when he's asked who he is, he will state his name and all his lineage. And he will stand there knowing who he is in and of himself, but also as a member of a wonderful community. Stand tall in the awareness of himself and who he is. It's awesome to see. And one day you and I will do the same thing. We will stand tall in the realization of what is available to us and how privileged we are to take what's available to us and use it for our good and the good of all else besides. One of the questions asked a young boy or a young girl entering a monastery or convent was, why do you enter the monastery or the convent? And the answer was, to save my own soul and the soul of all others. It's always about all others as well, because I am the other, as well as I am the me. And so, for you and for me to absolutely glean the awesome available power that is present in us, we have to know I could be the most exciting idea in mind and in life because of what dwells in me and the essence from whence I came because of that. If I could only get a grip on that, the awesome aspect of the divine essence of being, that I am, and that this tiny little experience of myself as a human being is so momentary, it's not even as long as a breath. It's so transient. And is that why what and only what I identify with? Well, too much of the time most of us do. So the call is get in touch with the beauty, with the grace, with the power, with the awesome, amazing availability of this thing called life. Understanding that you are this pool of light. You are this river of grace. You are this radiation of love. This is what you are. And when you realize this, all the blinking nonsense goes away. All the crabbiness and the smallness and the separations and the whatever it is that keeps us from recognizing this state of being in ourselves and all else besides dissipates and disappears. Yesterday, for a couple of hours, the whole world came together. The whole world came together as one to celebrate and enjoy a wonderful thing happening. The celebration of two people in love and what that entailed and so on. 1 billion people or more watched it on the television. And up to 150,000 people just in that tiny little town of Windsor. All delighted and excited. And for a couple of hours, everybody forgot all the other stuff that was going on, and everybody was in joy. And the chapel was described as a room full of love, a room full of love. And that's what you are. You're a room full of love. And everywhere you go could be a room full of love. If you knew you were the most exciting idea in your own mind and in your own life, that could happen. The mental equivalent of everything is very important. And nothing has come into your life, appeared in your life, unless you had the mental equivalent for it. And remember, thought is only thought, but it's nothing without conviction. Conviction is the fire that lights up the momentum and moves it into that process that brings about the end result. And remember, if we are absolutely clear on the blueprints, on the prototype, if we're clear and crystal clear on that, the means by which that has to come into being must happen, says Emerson. Now, these are things that everybody says who has studied life and living, metaphysics and science and philosophy and anything there is to study. They all say the same thing, whether it's Ernest Holmes or whether it's Troard or whether it's Emerson or whether it's Emmett Fox or whether it's some very wise person you know. Ordinary, everyday neighbor, or somebody who just knows it. They all say the same thing. Thought matters. Thinking makes it so, coupled with conviction. So your prototypes, your mental equivalents are all important when it comes to realizing whatever you want to realize. And I can guarantee you, you can go back into your childhood and see the seeds that were sown as mental equivalents then, unconscious ones though they be, that have come to fruition now. Like the little girl running around and playing, as I was sharing this morning, playing with her friends, running around, and there she was running around with this great big crown on her head. I mean, I don't think for a minute she thought then that one day she would become the Duchess of Sussex, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. I doubt very much that was in her mind, but she was unconsciously sowing the mental equivalent, unconsciously. And again, I shared about Jim Carrey, young boy sitting up in the Hollywood Hills by the Hollywood sign overlooking Hollywood, thinking of himself as this great actor. He was going to be this great success. Then whipped out his checkbook and wrote himself a check for $1 million, his first check for his great big first success. Mental equivalent, prototype being built. And of course, he realized what it was. He had a mind. And again, as I loved the story this morning about the little boy in England when he was a small tyke, second grader, they were all asked to write an essay about what they loved best and what they think they would be doing when they grew up. And he wrote all about horses and how he was going to have this amazing stable. He was going to be a successful person in the field of horses. In the field of horses. He didn't go any further than that, just in the field of horses, because he's a second grader. But he could see himself with horses and being very successful with horses and having this great big stable, and it was his, and he could see it, and he could feel it, and he could smell it, he could touch it, he knew it was going to be him. Handed it in, he drew pictures, you know, the white fence all around these fields and these beautiful horses and so on, and there he is patting one of them. And the teacher just, when she gave him back the grade, he got just a passing grade, and that was all. And he was kind of wondering, and he looked, and the teacher said, "You would have got a better mark if you had, shared something that's possible for you to do. That's never going to happen. Go rewrite that, do it again, and I'll upgrade you if you do the right thing." He didn't. He didn't rewrite it. He did not rewrite that. But years later, he walked into that school with a big, huge check for the headmaster for the school. And then he walked into his teacher's classroom and he reminded her of his essay and how he had realized his dream. And not in a vindictive way at all. He just did it in a kind way. And then later when they were on their own, he reminded her, not to be so quick to tell children what they cannot do. Because he had realized his dream. He truly had embodied the mental equivalent and created the prototype that formed the nucleus that eventually brought that to happen. Little girl, very little girl, playing in the puddles, had made these paper boats. And there she sat down, haunched down, and she placed these little paper boats in this puddle sea, and she sent off the boats as missionaries to faraway lands to go away and take care of little sick children and to be able to help families in need in faraway lands. And later on, when she was a little bit bigger and her aunt visited her, who was a nun, when they were all family were allowed, she dressed up in her aunt's, she had this long dressing gown, silk black dressing gown. She put it on. She got her father's big white handkerchief. She tied it like a bandana around her head. And she got a white pillowcase and tied the white pillowcase under her chin, put her hands up the sleeves the way she saw the nuns do it, looked in the mirror and saw herself, recognized herself. But she didn't know at that time she was building her prototype. She had created the blueprints. She didn't know that she was setting the energy around the nucleus for this to happen, that when later on, when she received the veil and the habit in the convent, and the Reverend Mother said, arise, sister, go forth now, you're ready to bring the good news to the poor, to help prisoners, to tell the blind that they can see, and to help the downtrodden and free those in need from bondage. Go forth and do that. Bring the good news. Little did she know, when she was a little nipper, as they say, she was sowing the seeds. She was creating the mental equivalent. She was creating the blueprints and the nucleus for that to happen. See, that's how it happens. That's how it happens. And you've done the very same thing as a child, and I guarantee if you go back and look at it, you'll see how way back when you created the blueprints for something to happen. Good, bad, or indifferent, you did it. And so did we all. So did we all. So what are we going to continue now to be and do and think and say as we move through the preciousness of a gift of a brand new day every day when we awaken into it? Are we going to know that I could be the most exciting idea in my own mind, in my own life today? And because of that, spread that energy and lift up all those around me because of that energy. It's such attractive energy, and it ignites and it influences, and it causes others to be caught up in its fire. It really does. That's the power of one, the power of one, the power of one. Don't ever underestimate the power of one. And you're the one, you're the one, you're the one. A day can be anything you want that day to be, and it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It does not matter what happened yesterday. Today, opening up into a new opportunity of life, calling you forth to look into the mirror of yourself, your soul, and recognize yourself, and recognize yourself, and recognize yourself. My goodness me, what is it going to be? Are we going to keep settling for the illusion? Are we going to keep settling for the illusion of who and what we are? These human beings full of this and that and the other. And human beings who haven't got this and haven't got that, didn't do this, didn't do that, didn't achieve this, didn't achieve that, didn't accomplish this, didn't accomplish that, lost out in that, lost out in that, missed that, missed that. That's an option. That's a choice, and it's a sovereign choice. But why settle for the illusion? Why not be open to the reality that the cure is in the cupboard of your mind, whatever that cure is needed for. It's in the cupboard of your mind. The questions lie deep within yourself, as are the answers to those questions. The questions are, hopping up and down within you to bring themselves to you, if you don't want to be still for 2 minutes, shut up, calm down, be still, be quiet, and listen. Why is that so impossible, or seems so impossible for so many of us? Why is that so? Why is that so? It's so because you don't know yourself enough. You don't love yourself enough. You don't honor yourself enough. You don't respect yourself enough, and neither do I. That's why. And how are you going to get to know yourself enough in order to love yourself and respect yourself and honor yourself? Be still and know. You've got to face yourself down. You've got to be in your own company. And in the beginning, that may be tough for some of us. In the beginning, we may not be even able to look ourselves in the face because we're so disappointed with ourselves. Do it anyway until you can go at least like this. The way I watch horror movies, if I have to, in someone else's house, or like this. So, my dear ones, what is it going to be? Because the choice is you. Is it going to be the same old illusion day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out? Because you're building that prototype based on an illusion when all of the time you're telling yourself you cannot, you cannot, you cannot. I am not, I am not, I am not. As sure as night follows day. That prototype is being built, and that nucleus is being formed, and when it does, you are going to get a ton of opportunity and evidence to prove to you that you are right, you are a have not, and an am not. But it works equally well on the other side too. Equally well on the other side. So what does it come back to? It comes back to your self-talk, your inner talk, what you're telling yourself most of the time, what you're telling yourself most of the time, what you're repeating, all those loop ideas you have about yourself that are always going on. Oh, I'm not good at that. I'll never be able to do that. I can't see it. No, do you hear people say, I can't see that for myself, can't see that. Well, for heaven's sakes, if you can't see it, you think the life out there is going to see it, or people out there is going to see it. Life only sees what you see. And remember this, you do not get what you want from mind. You get what you give to mind. You get what you bring to mind. You get what you input in mind. It's just like a computer. You're the one that's inputting. You're inputting all this information into mind. And what creates the nucleus? The nucleus will not form until you press send. As soon as you press send, it's out there, it's gone, it's happening. No pulling that one back. How many times have you hit that send button by mistake? It's embarrassing to think about it. And as for those texts that you don't check before you send them, if you have. Well, that's Comedy Central. But I'm telling you, in conclusion, I only have the one thing to say today, and it is you could be the most exciting idea in your own mind. Why wouldn't you be that? Why wouldn't you want to be that? Why wouldn't you want to experience yourself in a divine way of being? Why wouldn't you want to know your divinity? Why wouldn't you want to embrace your divinity? Why wouldn't you want to experience your divinity and everybody else's too? Why wouldn't you? So get the card out. You need a pack of cards now. Get another card out and decide what it is you're going to form the blueprints, the prototype of, so that you can create the nucleus that's going to create every way and means for you for this to happen, because it will. Sit down at some point today or tomorrow. Create that prototype. Draw up the blueprints. Be sure about it. Be certain about it. Know it with all your mind and your heart and your soul that this is what I know I can experience. This is a divine idea that's been niggling me for a long time, but I've been ignoring it because I thought I couldn't do it, achieve it, accomplish it, give it away, or bring it in. Do it. And then back it up. Carry the card with you. Go to it very often throughout the day and say, this is what is happening in my life now. I am moving into blah, 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 blah. I'm delighted about it already. I'm grateful for it already. I'm thinking like it's already so. I'm feeling like it's already so. I'm acting like it's already so. And then one day you'll wake up and it will be so. It's as simple and as challenging as that. Get the card out and commit. And start creating in the beautiful playing field of your mind good stuff, good things. Create good stuff in here. Know that you can. You're equipped for it. You're made for it. You came in with the ability to be able to do that. Do it. And stop living the illusion of all the negative stuff that we've allowed ourselves to believe to be true about ourselves. We're none of that. And remember, every single day, indeed every minute and every single day is a new opportunity to start something new, to begin something new, to go forward into a bigger and wider expression and experience of your life, because I declare it, and it's so true. And I'm knowing you're believing it because it's so true. You could be the most exciting idea, splendid idea in your mind and in your life. Do you know it? Yes. Because I do. Do you want it? Yes. Are you going to allow yourself to give it to yourself? Yes. And so it is. Reverend Catherine is away at camp at the moment, and so we're just going to go into our song now and into our little ceremony of the law of circulation. And we're going to take our gift between our blessing hands, and we're going to know that what we're blessing is going to go forward to do the work of the center and to support the work of the center, which of course is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence by first awakening that in ourselves and then helping to create a world that works for all and blesses all. So let's take our gift between our hands and say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper. All those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is later.
This is the mental equivalent of my mind right now. As funky as anybody gonna ever wanna be. When an immovable object meets an irresistible force, oh, ain't no doubt about it, your mind and heart are down a collision course. You can to think higher, feel deeper, move heaven and earth. It's more than just words. Think higher, feel deeper, higher, deeper. If you're going through the motions with just your body, not your soul, oh, it's like headed down the highway, sleeping on cruise control. You might want to open a window, take in a view. It's a real eye opener. What's in front of you? Hey, think higher, feel deeper, move heaven and earth. It's more than just words. Think higher, feel deeper, higher, deeper. Yeah, rising up from where I was, I found there was a greater love inside. Ooh, there's more to get than getting by. I am here to testify. Let's testify together now. Take it. You can holler hallelujah with brimstone and fire, but that call and response is preaching to the choir. So think higher, feel deeper, move heaven and earth. It's more than just words. Think higher, feel deeper, higher, deeper. Here we go now. Thank you.
Jody Siegel. Thank you, Jody.
Comes and makes us sit up and certainly be awake. And thank you so much for all your wonderful, wonderful inspirational music. And our gentlemen too, they always bring it home every Sunday. Now, as we say, oh, by the way, there's an iftar celebration here on Thursday night. Iftar is the celebration of Ramadan beginning, and it's a beautiful ceremony. For those of you who can make it, it's an interfaith ceremony, and if you can make it, you're very welcome. Get the details at the counter for iftar. The food is always very good, too. And we don't forget, no matter how life is or what's going on in it, we never, ever, ever forget those who are in trouble, those who are in sorrow, those who are in sadness, those who are in need of any kind. And so we remember very, very, very especially the 8 children and the 2 teachers who made their transition this week in such a sad way. And we're going to know always, somehow or another, good comes out of everything. That's the cold comfort we get from these kinds of things. But there are so many hot spots in the world, so many, many, many people in need. And so let's be mindful of that always, but not in a sympathetic way, but in an empowering way that knows that somehow or another, those people will be able to reach into the strength within themselves, and that they will be able to identify with something greater than everything that's going on, and something greater than even their own needs, and that's going to see them through. So we're going to know for them the most highest and amazing unfolding good in their lives. So we don't get complacent about our blessings, but we always are reminding ourselves and remembering those who are in dire straits and do whatever it is that we are moved to do to help in some way. So that's what we have in mind as we pray. I know divine love enfolds me, divine light leads me, divine life lives in me, divine wisdom inspires me, divine compassion expresses through me, and divine power protects me. All that I am is Spirit's life and expression. It is good and very good. With deep joy and generosity filling me, I go forward now in sacred service, supporting a compassionate world that works for all. I move through my days with grace and ease, in peace and love, in health and wellness, in fullness and plenty, and in loving relationship with all. What I now know for myself, with blessing and in deep gratitude, I know for all life. There's only love, there's only love. And that love is you. So I'm knowing there's going to be great mental equivalence created in our lives this week, and as a result, great good will flow. So let's stand now for our peace song.